Good morning. Good morning. It is 2:50 a.m. I'm on my way to the gym. I was uh I was thinking about something. Obviously, I got up this morning and my mind started running with things I needed to do, so I decided to write it down. I decided to write it down because one, I didn't want to forget. Excuse me. Two, I didn't want it constantly bothering me, saying, "Don't forget, don't forget, don't forget." Well, with that endless mind chatter, it creates a block in trying to move forward or do something more for self, like meditation or relaxation or whatever it is you're trying to do, because it's constantly being interrupted by a thought of what you're supposed to be doing. Hey, you shouldn't be sitting here thinking or contemplating on life. You need to get up and write the contract or do this or do that, and et cetera, et cetera. You know how that goes. So I wrote it down. But I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm considering, how many times are we in a position, and I'll bring up a specific example. How many times have we owed money to somebody or something, and we get that money in our hands and we're in a position to pay it back, but yet instead of doing it, we justify not paying back the debt by saying we had another obligation that came up, therefore I took care of that first. And some of that is a big part of our integrity. And if you look around, there's a lot of rules. There's a lot of rules in place in order to keep us going along the line that we need to be. But at the end of the day, it's about doing the right thing. It's all summarized and summed up in simply doing the right thing, doing what you're supposed to do, making the right decision. That's really it. That's really it. And the right decision is all inside of you. And I give you a couple examples how it's when you're in a position where you have to make the right decision. When you're trying to lose weight, you know that the food that you're eating is not going to serve the best benefit of what you're trying to accomplish. So you have to do the right thing. That means instead of picking up the cookie, maybe you go for a walk, or maybe you drink a bottle of water. You make a decision that suits where you're trying to be at. And so many times the biggest problem with people is money. They want more money. The problem is they don't do the right thing with the money at all. You don't take care of your obligations. You want money just to have it. You don't want money so you can do the right thing with it. You want money so that you can just have it. You want money because you think that money will resolve all your problems. Well, it won't take care of the fact that you have ethical and moral and your character is flawed. It won't fix the fact that your integrity is gone. So money avoids you. I was listening to something. It was pretty cool. It was the meeting between the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Tutu, two of the highest religious figures on the planet, coming together to have a sit-down discussion about life. And they started talking about Nelson Mandela and apartheid and his time in prison. And simply put, Bishop Tutu said that had not Nelson Mandela been in prison those years, he would have still been the same hungry, bloodthirsty individual with no compassion. Sometimes what you're going through is simply there to either correct something in your life or to remove something in your life. But when you take a loss, sometimes it's humbleness that comes into your life and a little bit of compassion. And they said, had he not did that time in prison, had he not been a part of that movement, then he would not have had the ability to be the great leader that he went on to be. Meaning he would not have had the ability to sit there and listen to the opposing side, hear things objectively, and then follow through with integrity. Right? So if you had to take everything and if you had to say, well, how do I make a drastic change in my life? And it seems like there's a lot of rules, but I'm sitting there thinking I'm like, well, there's a lot of rules that I have to follow, that I have to adhere to. But then at the end of the day, it's not a bunch of rules. It's really 2 or 3 kind of common sense rules. One, you have to do the right thing when you're in the position to do it. And yeah, sometimes that means, if you borrow $50 from Jimmy and you only got $55 back, but you got some other obligation that came up, but you borrowed the money from Jimmy first, you have to pay him back. And I've been put in that situation before. I can honestly say I have no monetary debt to man. I have no monetary debt. Now, I have different types of debts and I have different types of obligations, but monetary wise, I have no debt. See, the 1 or 2 times that I can remember borrowing something, I remember giving it back, plus because I wanted to stay in favor with that person. I wanted to keep my integrity intact. So I made those payments and I paid them off and I took care of it because that was an obligation that I felt entitled to do. Right? But when you owe somebody or when you owe something, you have a moral. You owe it to your integrity to take care of it. And every time you don't do the right thing, every time you make the wrong decision, it takes a little bit from you. It does. Just as much as it gives something to you when you do the right thing. I remember one time I owed a debt. And this wasn't too long ago. It was about 2 years ago. And what was given to me was necessary. I mean, it was very necessary. I really needed it. I needed them to take care of something. But I remember I had been taking care of the debt. It was bigger than anything I could have paid back immediately, but I was taking care of it fairly rapidly. And I remember it was like a final payment or something. And I remember I had just got a check from a job that I had done. And I remember walking into the bank, and it felt so weird. I remember walking into the bank and going up to the teller, and I said, I need to cash this, or I need to do something. And the other person, I had their bank information. Or I remember standing in line in front of the counter and texting them and saying, hey, I need to know the name of your account or something like that. I was trying to do something right then and there on the side on the scene, and I was getting the information as I'm talking to the teller, and it was everything I had. It was so fucking weird. It was literally everything I had, and I was like, send it. I was like, I need you to send it here. I need you to deposit this in my account, then I need you to transfer it here. It was hard to do, but deep in my heart, it was the right thing to do. And even though it was hard and it was the right thing to do, I never, oh my God, it almost brings tears to my eyes. Because 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 I I I really needed that money. But I didn't, my obligation to give that back was greater than my own personal needs. So to this day, I've earned a spot in that person's heart. And I had remembered I had seen a message that was sent to me. And it was like, you're my only friend. You're the only person that made good. And like legitimate, like no joke. Like this person doesn't play. They don't play with words like that. But I needed that money. I literally, it was like, fuck. It didn't even, but the feeling I had after I did it was like, dude, I was so proud that I had made that decision for a few reasons, but I was so proud that I had come to that point in life where I looked, there was a crossroad, there was a direction I had to pick and choose to go into, and the one I chose to go into was not the easiest one. And when you make those decisions, when you start making the decisions that are not the easiest ones to make, man, there's another level of growth right there that is insane. That is insane. Because we needed that money. And I knew that the individual, he didn't need it, wasn't even worried about it. But but it was it was the right thing to do. And we've been blessed ever since. It's them hard decisions. It's them hard decisions that you have to make that builds the character and the integrity inside of you that puts you in great positions. I went and cashed so many checks yesterday. Stuff I was sitting there and I was like, God, it wasn't even that long ago that I was really looking around man, how am I gonna pull this off? And there was so much going on. But I'll leave it at this. At the end of the day, you got to make the right decision. You got to make the hard decision. You got to do the right thing. And when you start doing the right thing, when your integrity starts lining up with your decisions, then everything that you're trying to be, everything that you want to be, everything that you're gonna be will start falling into line as well. But you got to start right there making those decisions.